Hi, and welcome to ZNT Comics, and today I will be giving a review on Batman Detective Comics issue number 15. This is a Death of the Family tie-in, although I don't know why, because Joker only is mentioned a few times and doesn't really have an appearance in it. But it's still a fantastic comic. The comic, if you get it, you pick it up, it is a cutout of Batman's face, just like the original Batman, number 13 comic, but it's a different colored skin. So the comic starts out with Joker's henchman burying Poison Ivy underground in a metal casing. People would think, oh, why is Poison Ivy getting buried? She controls plants. That's not a good idea. But because she's in a metal casing, technically she only has 30 minutes to live, to be able to breathe. And then the next few slides, the next two slides to be exact, is what Clayface thought happened to him, because Clayface right now is getting controlled by Poison Ivy. So it goes to Clayface and Poison Ivy getting married, and then the priest is just like, I announce you man and wife. He's stuttering because the people that are supposed to get married are rotted up against the wall of Poison Ivy's plants, and the priest is about to get choked to death. No, the priest does not die, though. Then 3 short scenes later, it says, Hudson, 3 weeks ago, where Poison Ivy and Clayface are robbing someplace. Then it goes to Atlanta last week, and Poison Ivy and Clayface are robbing another place. Then it goes to Tulsa, to be exact, Tulsa, the night before issue 14. And then the next page is right at the end of issue 14, where Clayface and Batman are fighting, and Clayface is saying, I'm gonna beat you down, Batman, where's my wife? And Batman's just like, Clayface is out of his mind, what's going on? And then Batman fights back Clayface, punches him. He does realize that he's outmatched, but before that, Batman's like talking to himself, saying, listen, Clayface, you are not Ivy's husband. But when he's talking to himself, he's saying, Poison Ivy can only control men, their skin, through their skin, because that's how she controls them. But Clayface doesn't have skin, so she must have used something else. And she did use something else, but you'll find that out later. So, Clayface is immune to fire, because there is a fire going on, so that doesn't affect him. And then Batman figures out, okay, I'm outmatched. He tells Alfred, he doesn't tell Alfred, because of the, Joker. He just signals the bat plane to catch him, so he jumps out of the window and catches onto the bat plane, goes back to the Batcave. And then it goes back to Penguin talking to one of his workers. And he says, okay, Poison Ivy is 6 feet under, just like you requested. And Penguin's like, good, everything's perfectly fine. And this is the only time you see the Joker, is the Joker standing right behind the Joker. The Joker standing right behind the Penguin, where the Penguin doesn't notice him. So, you can barely even see his face. So, it's not that. That's the only time you get to see him. And then it says, back to Penguin talking to his worker. And he's saying, okay, Penguin has to go back to Arkham Asylum to take away some business. And he leaves his worker to take care of the operation for him. And then it switches back to the Batcave, and he's doing some research on Clayface. And in the fight, he picks off one of the flowers that Clayface is wearing. And he figures out that, oh, this is a flower that can control people's emotions and everything. And then it switches back to Clayface roaming Gotham streets, and the GCPD and Jim Gordon are trying to take down Clayface, but he's going out of control, so Batman comes in with a kick-ass new suit. It's orange, it has a bat symbol in gold. Looks really cool, and it has a gun that can shoot fire, but technically it's not fire, because in the fight, when Clayface says, remember you tried that already? It didn't work. I'm immune to fire. But it's not fire that he has. It is Herbicide. Herbicide is his own concoction, and it's connected to the flower that he found, so he uses that to, like, spray him and get away. And while Clayface is realizing that none of this is true, Batman explains everything that happened, that you're not who you are. You're not married to Poison Ivy. That stuff never happened. You never robbed in Hudson and Atlanta. Nothing happened. And Clayface says, no, no, no. And he gets really mad and goes out of control. And Batman says, I almost feel bad for him. Almost. He says, and Batman says, I never beaten Clayface like this before. This time I beat him through his heart, because he's been destroyed. And he goes down to the sewers underground, and GCPD says he has that, so Batman has other business to do because of the Joker. And so he is mentioned a lot, the Joker. So Batman, the next scene is the worker who was working for the Penguin goes to the graveyard and buries up Poison Ivy. And she says, I was almost dying. She only had half an hour, and it's been an hour and a half. But really, even though the worker tells Poison Ivy this, that even though you didn't know it, you could still live under there forever. Because even though you were trapped in a box that you couldn't have any plants around you, you can still change your oxygen to carbonite to oxygen or whatever. And then so really, the worker is going against Penguin, saying, I don't work for Penguin. I used to work for Penguin. And that's why she's saving Poison Ivy, who Penguin once dead. And he says, my name is Ignatius Ogilvy. Ignatius Ogilvy. And then the next scene is, but you can just call me Emperor Penguin. So this new guy is taking up the role of Penguin, because when the Penguin comes back from Asylum, his whole business is going to be destroyed. So I guess this guy is the new Penguin. His name is Ignatius, and he's calling himself Emperor Penguin. And in the next issue, it's called The Emperor Strikes. Sorry. So that's the end of the comic, but then it switches to Love in the Bloom, starring Clayface. And it just starts out with Clayface in the sewers, and it goes back in time when Poison Ivy is breaking out Clayface from Asylum. And he just, before, like, Poison Ivy was breaking out Clayface, he was getting all these love letters from her, like, tons of love letters, like, once a day and everything. And then that's what makes Clayface, like, ooh, who is this Amire? And then that's when, Poison Ivy walks in and frees Clayface. And Ivy's name is, in, like, the notes it says, my sweet Basil. And, so then it goes back into the sewer, and Clayface still has one of the notes she said. He just crumbles it up, throws it away, and pops out of the sewer. Says, out of the way, shrimp. And he just walks away into the streets of Gotham. And then it goes to the epilogue, where he finds a place where... See, now Poison Ivy doesn't know Clayface figured out any of this. She still thinks Clayface owns him. So then it goes back to in a hotel room where Clayface and Poison Ivy were supposed to meet. And Ivy's like... And Poison Ivy... Clayface is like, I went looking for you. When I couldn't find you, I came back here and waited. She says, oh, it's okay. And she says... And then Poison Ivy says, okay, the Joker is making whole things a lot worse. We're leaving. And then Clayface says, no. And Poison Ivy's like, no? And then this is where she realizes that she has no control over Clayface. And at the end, the very last page of the whole comic is just Clayface attacking Poison Ivy. And it just, and all he says is Clayface. And and in the corner it just says, finish. Sorry, hold on a second. And so this comic was mainly about Clayface and Poison Ivy, about their whole story, and how Poison Ivy is getting attacked by Clayface at the end, and how Batman solved everything, and how the Joker, the Penguin's gone, a new Penguin's in, and the Joker is still in the middle of everything. I do not know if this is after or before the events of Batman 14, But I will be doing a review on Batman 15, so stay tuned for that, because it will be a very long review. It will be a very detailed review. There's not much I could say about this. I mean, this comic was a great comic. If it was for a Death of the Family tie-in, I give it a 6 out of 10, not like a 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 for a Death of the Family comic, because it has nothing to do with the Death of the Family. But for a normal comic, I give it a 9 out of 10, because it is a great comic. But if you're just looking for the Death of the Family tie-in, there's really no reason to pick this up. But if you want to collect it, pick it up anyway. But if you're just a Batman fan, it's a great pickup. So that's all for now. So please like and subscribe to my channel. And that's all for today. And stay tuned for more comic book reviews next Wednesday. Goodbye.